Most people think loneliness means being alone. They're wrong. The most painful loneliness happens in full rooms, at loud parties, inside your closest relationships, and your brain is doing it on purpose to protect you from something that happened a long time ago. If that lands somewhere specific, stay with me, because what's happening to you has a name, a neuroscience, and a reason that almost nobody fully explains. Here's the first thing nobody tells you. Loneliness has nothing to do with how many people are around you. That's not an opinion. That's neuroscience. In 2015, researchers at the University of Chicago found that loneliness is processed in the brain the same way physical pain is. The same neural pathways, the same threat response. Your brain treats social disconnection as a survival emergency, the same way it treats a broken bone. Your brain cannot tell the difference between being physically hurt and feeling emotionally unseen. The alarm is the same. The suffering is the same. And yet we treat loneliness like it's just a mood, like you should be able to think your way out of it. You can't, because it's not happening in your thoughts. It's happening in your nervous system. Here's what most people never learn. There are two completely different types of loneliness, and they need two completely different solutions. Social isolation, being physically alone. Emotional isolation, being surrounded by people, but seen by none of them. You can cure social isolation by walking into a crowded room. Emotional isolation doesn't work that way. Researchers found something that surprises most people. Put a group of emotionally isolated people together in the same room, and the loneliness doesn't decrease. It amplifies, because now you're not just unseen, you're unseen in front of witnesses. Most people spend years trying to solve emotional isolation with social solutions. More plans, more parties, more noise, and the loneliness doesn't move, because they're treating the wrong problem entirely. So why do you feel this so deeply, even when everything looks fine from the outside? Neuroscientist John Cacioppo spent 30 years studying this exact question. What he found shocked people. Chronically lonely people don't want to be alone. They crave connection more intensely than average, but their brains have learned, through experience, to expect rejection. So they unconsciously build walls, even while desperately wanting someone to climb over them. Cacioppo called this hypervigilance to social threat. Your brain starts scanning every single interaction for evidence that you don't belong. A delayed text, a friend who seemed distracted, a conversation that felt slightly off. Things most people don't even notice. Your brain is cataloging as proof that you're on the outside. Remember what I said at the start. Your brain is doing this to protect you from something. Here's what that something actually is. It came from early life. Not necessarily obvious trauma. Sometimes it's quieter than that. A parent who was emotionally unavailable. Being the kid who sat alone at lunch. A friend group where you were present, but never truly included. These experiences taught your nervous system one lesson it never forgot. Closeness is unpredictable. Stay behind the glass. It's safer there. Your nervous system learned that to protect you. It's still running that same program, even when the original threat is long gone. There's something happening chemically that almost nobody talks about. Chronic loneliness lowers oxytocin sensitivity. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone, the chemical that makes human connection feel warm and real. But loneliness makes your brain less responsive to it, which means even when someone is genuinely trying to reach you, you feel less of it. Your own chemistry starts blocking the signal. Loneliness reduces your ability to feel connection. Reduced connection deepens loneliness, and the cycle runs quietly, invisibly, while you sit in a full room, wondering why you feel nothing. Now here's the part that most people never hear. Sometimes you feel lonely in a crowd because you've abandoned yourself, not other people, yourself. Think about how many of your interactions involve a version of you, not actually you. A slightly safer version, the one that laughs at the right moments, the one that never brings up the real things, the one that performs just enough to be liked, but never enough to be known. Psychologist Lars Venson found something in his research that stopped me cold. People who experience the deepest loneliness are often social perfectionists. They place such impossible standards on connection. It has to be safe, perfect, guaranteed, that nothing ever feels real enough to let in. They're not lonely because no one understands them. They're lonely because they've never shown anyone who they actually are, waiting to be found without ever making themselves findable. Research from the University of Arizona confirmed what this costs. People who had substantive conversations, ones that went beyond small talk into something genuinely real, reported dramatically lower loneliness. Depth matters more than quantity, always has. But depth requires honesty, and honesty requires showing up as yourself, not the version you've been rehearsing. Here's the hardest truth. You're not lonely because no one is trying to reach you. You're lonely because you've made yourself unreachable while waiting for someone to find you anyway. Waiting for someone to text first. Waiting to be invited. Waiting for someone to finally notice. And every time that text doesn't come, your brain files it as more evidence that you don't belong. But here's what that waiting actually is. It's proof that you've handed your entire sense of belonging to other people. And no one can carry that weight for you. The people who break out of chronic loneliness share one thing. At some point, they stopped waiting. They started building something. A purpose, a reason to exist that had nothing to do with whether someone texted back. Purpose fills the space that waiting used to occupy. When you stop measuring your worth by who shows up, you stop needing people to complete you. And that's when people actually want to be around you. So what does this actually require? Not more people, not more noise, something harder. First, honesty. The loneliness lives exactly where the performance does. Every relationship where you're showing people a version of yourself instead of the actual you is a relationship that cannot reach you. You can't be truly seen while you're hiding. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the only door connection can actually walk through. Second, grieve what was never real. Some people around you are familiar, not close. You've known them for years without ever actually knowing each other. Acknowledging that is painful, but pretending otherwise keeps you stuck. Performing closeness you don't feel in rooms full of people you're not really with. Third, stop trying to belong everywhere. Stop contorting yourself to fit into spaces that were never yours, because when you stop trying to fit in, you create room for the people who would have chosen you anyway. The loneliness you feel in a crowd is not a flaw. It's your nervous system doing exactly what it was trained to do, protecting you based on everything it learned. It's a signal that you need something real, not just something nearby. You don't need more people. You need people who can actually reach you. And maybe, slowly, you need to let them try. But first, you need to show up for yourself, not the version you perform. The actual one, the one that's been sitting quietly behind the glass, waiting for someone to notice. That someone might need to be you first. Hit subscribe to Paws if this hit somewhere you weren't expecting. Before you go, I want to ask you something honest. When was the last time you let someone see the real version of you, not the one you perform? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one, and you might be surprised how many people sitting in full rooms are asking themselves the exact same question.